Hey, people, we're live.
Again.
Yes.
Hello.
Well, we're always live, I suppose. We're always alive. So, like, as far as I know, anyway.
It's one way to look at it.
Beats the alternative, they always say. So we're going to have a lot of interesting discussions this evening. Some of them silly, some of them serious, some of them who knows what they'll be. But it's going to be a smorgasbord of Trek.
My mom used to make that for dinner. I found out that smorgasbord was a fancy word for leftovers.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, there is that.
Leftovers. That's about right.
Wait,
Smorgasbord. It's German for, we still eating that?
Or buffet. It's German for buffet.
hey, listen to Diane in the chat here with us.
Hello, Diane.
Hello, boys.
Evening, boys. Yeah.
My.
I'm watching you. Always watching you.
Make sure I have my notes up for my book
for our Warp
report.
Speed Roundtable. Oh, for your book report, yes, and also for your Warp Speed Roundtable about
I got to remember to bring my book
episodes
on the trip.
Oh, yeah, because
I'm in March, but I still need to finish the book.
all right. And I will have some slides to show that will probably have nothing to do with what you're talking about. So,
Oh, that'll be fun.
So just ignore, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
The one where Leonard Nimoy's out by his car smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
not quite like that.
Or William Shatner and him are sitting there with their plates of food, like for
yeah.
lunch.
We won't let them in the commissary. They got to eat outside. They're on that Star Trek show.
All right, now that I got that tickle out. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Ready. Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 152 for Friday, January 12th, 2024. Coming up in this episode, it's been a hot minute. Time for more Trek movie rumors. We take more wild guesses about Star Trek. Avast! There be a Trek novel being reviewed real soon. All that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. Glory Daze. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it. Sooner or later, because on this show, the topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrill-packed edition of The Topic is Trek. I think I broke Craig for a second there. Anyway, I'm Clinton, one of your Topic is Trek co-hosts. And speaking of Craig, he's beaming in to join us from parts unknown with the hip new catchphrase that's bound to be all the rage. So, beam him in.
Do we have to?
Yes.
I drink your milkshake.
Well,
we would have been better off with what we were talking about before he came on.
Oh,
Even milk turns chocolatey. Okay, we got to talk about this album art here. Oh, wait. First,
that's what I was laughing at, actually.
Also joining us.
Yeah, so, by the way, the person that's also talking is Mr. Craig, Mr. Chuck Tomasi here. And
yeah, this opening artwork, if you're not watching the video,
that, huh?
you are missing out.
Where'd you get that?
We've got Riker and Troy riding scooters through the hallway of something. Okay, I'm guessing this was AI generated.
Yeah, I'm having some fun with the AI art. So this is I had to think of something for Glory Days, and so
Yeah.
that's their biker phase they were going through.
Okay, yeah, these are like mini motorcycles. There's
so-
enough to give it the tell that it is AI. Like Troy's dress that's normally kind of off kilter, asymmetric, is not quite right.
Really?
That extra
Yeah.
fabric on the right-hand side. The
Well,
hallway's a little curvy, and I'm not sure what the walls are supposed to represent unless they're walking through Mr. Atos's library or something.
what's funny is if you look at it, it looks like they're going through a hallway, but if you look at the top, it looks like parts of the bridge truncated.
It kinda, yeah, convert the lights on the ceiling converge instead of,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it looks kind of weird.
That's why I'm
You kn-
saying there's enough little tells in here to go, "Yeah, that's AI."
And
It's lovely. I love it when you first look at it going, "What?"
yeah, I don't remember what streaming channel it was, but they keep showing this ad for
Mhm.
with Matthew McConaughey, and he's talking about, if AI is the new Wild West, data must be the new gold. And he starts walking. He's in a cowboy outfit at first, but when he starts walking, it looks like AI. His boots are backwards and things are
It's got
creepy
like
like that.
six hands and
That's what that reminds me of. Like
Wait,
Troy's
Data
outfits, like kind of got a weird.
you mean Data from Next Generation is the new gold.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
He had
right.
gold eyes.
That's what they meant. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Data's
Did the commercial end with him saying, "All right, all right, all right"? Because if it didn't, what's the point
He
of
did
having
not.
Matthew McConaughey?
He did not say that.
Wow,
But
missed opportunity.
I did think it was funny when he was contemplating AI and data. I don't know.
Well, we have something to contemplate right now. It's whether or not we're going to get the okay to do our subspace chatter.
All right.
So,
Well, did you talk about the TOS and TNG movies?
oh well, yes. A quick note for those of you who didn't listen to the last episode of The Topic is Trek or weren't here for the live show. We did warn you. Granted, you had like 3 days notice, but that all of the TOS and TNG movies have once again left
Yep.
Paramount Plus to go to Max. And I just don't think it's the last time it's going to happen.
Did I know you said all, but did the motion picture also move the director's cut?
Everything except for the Kelvin timeline
Okay.
movies.
You were warned.
Very, very dramatically. Well, speaking with that echo, that's a great time because now I'm going to have to ask Charlie, is it okay if we do some subspace chatter?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't need all that subspace chatter.
And excellent. I see the
Rare
New Year's
form
starting off.
tonight.
Yeah, this New Year's starting off great.
Hey, at least he's consistent.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
He's got that going for him.
Yeah. All right. So for Morse from Morse.
Looked like Charlie's face. He was doing the Jack Klugman thing.
Yeah.
It's murder, Sam. I'm telling you, murder.
Right. So for moist fans,
Moist fans? No, that's not right at all.
For
Don't
most
say that.
fans, the battle between Star Trek and Star Wars is not a thing, but for the media in Hollywood studios, it is very real. That's why we're suspicious when following stories that hit the internet just one day apart. So on Tuesday, January 9th, Disney announced the Star Wars would be returning to the big screen in the near future in the form of The Mandalorian and Grogu film.
Oh, I thought it was Mandalorian and Giorgio. No wonder I was confused.
That's
Yeah,
why
that
you're
would be
confused.
fair.
Yeah. And then the very next day, January 10th, Deadline.com broke the news that Paramount Pictures was engaged with director Toby Haynes as the new director for a new Trek movie that would be set decades before the events of the J.J. Abrams 2009 Star Trek film.
Okay. Mere coincidence? Well, perhaps, but
Maybe,
such coincidences sure do happen an awful lot in Hollywood, as I'm sure you know. One might think the studios tried to draw the attention away from their competition with announcements like these. Somebody leaks something and somebody makes a report about it and just kind of steals the thunder.
That's
I'm
crazy
sure,
talk.
yeah, I'm sure there's not much to that. Well, although that said, let's talk about this proposed new Star Trek film, shall we? Because it's a thing now. This would be Toby Haynes' first time directing a feature film, but he's no stranger to directing science fiction and fantasy. After all, he's directed episodes of Doctor Who. Recently, Haynes was the main director for the Disney Plus series Andor. He was also the director of a very, very Star Trek inspired episode of Black Mirror, namely.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, not seeing it.
Pass.
Where his knowledge of and love for Trek was on full display. You're up, Chuck.
According to Deadline, the screenwriter tapped to work on the project is Seth Grahame-Smith, whose credits include writing Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Oh, I love that book. As well as the original Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. This guy's all over history, isn't he?
He knows the facts.
And, of course, the movie adaptation. Grahame-Smith also wrote the screenplay for the Lego Batman movie. It was a really good film.
Yeah, you can see how those all mesh together as, very similar.
Yeah, very similar.
As of this recording, there does not appear to be any official announcement from Paramount on this news.
So, all this must mean that the Kelvin Timeline Trek movies are done, right?
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah. Oh, really? Well, not exactly. In addition to producing this new Prime Timeline Trek movie, Bad Robot is still working on the Paramount. Working with Paramount, excuse me. They're working on the Paramount. They're trying to get to the top to bring the fourth Kelvin first movie to the big screen. It is rumored that the movie will mark the end of the alternate timeline films.
So great. That's all wonderful. What in the world could possibly upset all these Trek plans? I'm sure you're asking.
Another pandemic strike.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, all those things could definitely do it. But let us introduce you to the latest rumor regarding the fate of Paramount Global. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Sundance Media, a Santa Monica, California-based production company, is considering making an all-cash bid for National Amusements. If you live in the Northeast United States, you're probably familiar with the Showcase Cinema chain that is run by National Amusements. Full disclosure, I worked for Showcase in a few jobs in the past. Yeah, there was an usher and a cleaner, but that's not beside the point. Anyway, it's true. Anyway, National Amusements, run by Sherry Redstone, is the majority stockholder in Paramount Global, owning a whopping 80% of the voting stock. By purchasing National Amusement from Redstone, Skydance would effectively control Paramount.
Hey, by the way, Clinton, all work is honorable. Just saying.
Yeah, but there's things you just don't need to put on your resume anymore.
I have everything there.
They're so far gone, it's invaluable. In fact, it might be a liability at this point.
Clinton's resume is like 12 pages long.
And then I worked at a drive-in.
Yeah.
I used it to prop up the other resumes that I actually read. Skydance Media, founded in 2006 by David Ellison, yes, the son of the big man of Oracle, co-founder Larry Ellison, and owner of the Hawaiian island, is no stranger to working with Paramount. They held a co-production and co-financing deal with Paramount in 2009 to 2021. That's a long time. In fact, there were co-producers on Star Trek Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond. All that said, if this deal were to happen, there is no doubt that every project currently in production would be reviewed and possibly pushed back or even canceled.
What?
So stay tuned.
I think that was an opportunity for your reverb.
I was going to say that's when you want to have that.
Cancel.
Okay, enough of that. How about some concrete news? How about that, right? Some concrete good news. So congratulations from everyone here at the Topic is Trek to Terry Matalas for picking up the Astra Award for Best Writing in a Streaming Drama Series for his teleplay, The Last Generation episode 3 of Picard. The awards are presented by the Hollywood Creative Alliance. And congratulations to Jerry Ryan as well for her win in the Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series category for her portrayal as Seven of Nine in Picard. there was actually a tie-in to this category. So we also send our congratulations to Elizabeth Debicki, for who portrayed Princess Diana in the 6th season of The Crown.
Debicki, I believe it's
Debicki.
Mhm.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Wiki.
Wiki,
Wiki.
yes.
Wiki from the Transformers.
Now, what? I did not know that. She should put it on her resume.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we still don't know exactly when season 5 of Star Trek Discovery is going to premiere. But if you happen to be going to South by Southwest in March and have a platinum badge at a mere, I think $2,000, or a film and TV badge, only I think $1,300, you'll be able to see episode 1 of the season during a special presentation. The exact date of the session, as well as any confirmed Discovery attendees, is yet to come. However, one thing we did get is apparently the synopsis for the episode.
Ooh, okay.
It says Captain Burnham and the USS Discovery are sent to retrieve a mysterious 800-year-old Romulan vessel under the artifact until the artifact hidden inside is stolen, leading to an epic chase. Meanwhile, Saru is offered the position of a lifetime, and Tilly's efforts to help pull her pull her into a tangled web of secrecy.
Oh,
So we now know that Tilly is back. Of course, we kind of knew that
Yay!
anyway. So when we hear more about when this session is going to be and who's going to be there, of course, we'll let you know. And I'm hoping this means that it will be the beginning of April, because you can only keep people silent about,
yeah.
Right.
things
They
that
gotta-
we've seen for so long.
They got to let people know when it's coming to start anticipating it. So
Okay, let's speculate what the artifact hidden inside the Romulan ship is.
Well, we know it's that
it's a
Cloaking
Horgon.
it's that wooden thing
So
that
Horgon.
yeah. It looks like a giant Rubik's cube. So there's something clearly inside of that. That might be the Horgon inside there. I don't know.
Saru's offer of a lifetime is host of Jeopardy.
No, I think Ken's there for a while. Although I think it's 900 years.
900
in the future.
plus years?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. all
I
right.
mean, yeah, sure. Alex Trebek was there for about 800, so
Yes.
it's plausible.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I checked my mail today. I didn't see any platinum badge. Did y'all get one?
I have one, and I might not be able to use it, but I'm going to sell it on eBay if I can.
I dropped
It's
mine
from
in the church collection plate.
Clinton, the one you have is from a convention back in 2003.
Well, that's beside the point.
When it was still affordable without mortgaging your home.
Uh,
All right, let's move on. To show how
Okay.
fast things are moving in the Star Trek universe, until today, the following story was going to lead off our subspace chatter. Well, the interwebs have been buzzing bzzz,
Ow.
about a potential new Star Trek The Next Generation movie.
Hmm.
That's because while making an appearance on Josh Horowitz's Happy, Sad, Confused podcast to promote his new memoir, Make It So, Sir Patrick Stewart revealed the following news. And I'm not doing this in his voice anymore.
No, please.
I
don't.
heard only last night about a script that's being written, but written specifically with the actor Patrick to play it. And I've been told to expect to receive it within a week or so. And I'm so excited because it sounds like the kind of project where the experimentation that I want to do will be essential for this kind of material.
Oh, by the way, Patrick Stewart just called. He was in the confused part of that podcast.
Oh.
Goodness, look at the time.
Stop that, Sir Patrick. Get back to my show.
All right, but that's about it. So Sir Patrick does comment a bit later on what would be a next generation project, not a Picard continuation. But there really aren't any specifics, and it's not known who commissioned the script or even who wrote it, I guess. So this wasn't so much of a movie announcement as a heads up that Sir Patrick is getting some reading material. That's why we had to bump it down a few pegs because sorry, Patrick.
And we have a guest here from the chat about what's the artifact is. It's the external hard drive holding the Moriarty program.
Oh, the little green cube that's sitting inside the gray stand.
Ooh,
Sure, we could do
That's
that.
Jared Cooper.
So we get to see him again, maybe.
Yeah, for
Up, shall we?
not Sir Patrick. We're
Patrick
talking about
Stewart.
Moriarty. Once this guy gets started, he just blah
I
blah
know.
blah 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 blah.
That's right.
All right, that is all the stories we're going to cover. We were actually had several more in the hopper, but they kept getting pushed down and pushed down and pushed down by all this new stuff coming in. I've got to clean up the section that has our links. One of them was going to be about some of the people from Canada who were launched as part of the Peregrine flight that was going to the moon. So that is probably not a great story to cover right now because that whole thing kind of has gone awry, if you will. But we do have other stories in there, including some passings, including David Soul, who was in an episode of Original Trek, classic Trek episode, the one with Vol, where he was the young person who was going to learn, what mating and all that stuff was about. It's
Oh my.
yeah, oh my, indeed. So those notes are in there, and plus a ton of other things, all different aspects of Trek. We've got stuff from the TV shows, the movies, lots of things that I lump under miscellaneous and cross franchise. So there might be things that are stories that involve news articles and so forth about TNG and TOS. So I put it in that section at the end, and that section is really big. So if you go through and you're checking the notes for stories, be sure to scroll all the way down to the end because there's stuff in there that might be stuff you're looking for as well. So that is it. You had a thought there, Craig?
No, I was just saying, wow, because my thought is there's a lot of stuff to read.
There is. And I always like to check to see what is getting the most buzz at any particular time by the amount of stories that are written about it. So at this point, it looks like Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine are getting some attention these days, which makes sense because they're kind of all wrapped in with stuff that happened on Lower Decks and stuff that's been happening on Prodigy.
Yep.
So I think that makes sense that those are the stories that people are interested in hearing stuff about. As Prodigy as well in there, and we're still hoping. That's another one we're waiting to find out when is season 2 of Prodigy going to drop on Netflix.
Yeah, and if they're going to split it up or how they're going to drop it, and we don't even know if they're going to give us all episodes at once.
Right. So that's yet to come.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time for the part of the show that I really enjoy. That's when I get to say goodbye, Charlie.
I want to stay.
No, you're out of here.
Yeah, there he is.
Bye.
Fading out.
He's looking a little thin.
He is. Well,
it's 2024. He's got a new diet.
Yeah, he's
the
on the
diet.
Yeah,
the translucent diet.
Translucent diet. He's like one of those little goldfish you buy at the pet store that you can see through.
All right, it's time to go on our main mission with an appropriate sound effect.
All right.
That'll work.
Right.
This time around, we're going to be talking about the first of our new round of reviews of Star Trek novels. Craig was the one who initiated this. He got Star Trek novels for us and gave them to us at Dragon Con year before last year, right, in 2022.
Yep.
And he presented us with 3 new books this time around. And so he is kicking off the reviews of them. And then next episode, I'll be doing mine, which is a Voyager book. And I'll give you the title of that one at the end of the episode here. And then a couple of weeks after that, Chuck will have his. And then it begins all over again at Dragon Con when we get some new books.
But first, we need to properly prepare you through the Atavachron.
Yes.
There you go.
Now, because you're going to have to guide us through this, would you like one of us to give the background information on the book that I've got
Yes,
here?
please. While I get my notes in order here. But yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Chuck, you want to
Sure.
give a read there?
Simon Hawke was born Nicholas Valentin Yermakov, but began writing as Hawke in 1984. He later legally changed his name to Simon Hawke. He has written several science fiction and fantasy novels and novelizations, as well as near future adventure novels under the pen name J.D. Masters, and a series of humorous mystery novels. Hawke has written 3 Star Trek paperbacks, one set in the TOS era, and 2, including this story, are Next Generation adventures. You want the synopsis too?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the part we were looking for. Yeah.
Well, I was getting to that, but we had to learn about Valentin Yermakov.
I know. Go ahead.
Protecting the newly independent planet of Catral, Captain Jean-Luc Picard and the crew of the Enterprise intercept a rogue ship's attack and uncover a deadly secret that could result in a new age of oppression.
Okay. And I have not read this book. I asked Craig, like, who are some of the people in this story?
Yeah.
And so in the spirit of that opening image that I had, I've generated a couple of images that I'm sure have nothing to do whatsoever with what's actually going on in this story, but I may throw them in from time to time as we discuss
Okay.
the Blaze of Glory, the Blaze of Glory story. Boy, that's a rhyme right there.
That's close.
Next time on Star Trek, The Next
Yeah.
Generation.
All right. So I got a slightly different synopsis, but I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read through it anyway. So the USS Enterprise is assigned to the planet Catral, a planet just coming out from under the heel of a barbarous suppression. When the planet's newly emerging freedom is threatened by a rogue ship attacking the Federation shipping, Captain Jean-Luc Picard and his crew put their lives on the line to protect Catral from the raids. But the planet itself holds a deadly secret, one that could lead to the resurgence of the despotic cruelty they had suffered for centuries. With time running out, Captain Picard must see his way past a maze of deadly deception with billions with B
Ooh,
of lives hanging in the balance.
billions and billions.
Yeah.
Now, before we go any further,
Hmm?
I want to make sure that if you're watching the live feed and I have up the cover of the Star Trek Blaze of Glory paperback, and it has a typical thing. We have one character kind of prominent and the secondary character. So we see Picard up front, and then we see Data. And then I'm really confused. And
Why the original Enterprise?
yes, because we have a
Don't you
Constitution
know
class
why?
Enterprise in there. So I'm sure that Craig, you will address this at some point as we're
Yes.
going through this. Okay, because
Yeah, that is actually the USS Glory. Is what we're looking at. So it's not the Enterprise, but it's a Constitution.
it's a convoluted, yes.
Constitution class ship that was owned by. Well, here I'll go through it and I'll get to it in a second. So anyway, so yes, it's totally different. It's not the
Okay.
Enterprise. It's the Glory USS.
Oh, hence the title Blades of Glory.
Sort of. And you'll see where Blaze comes from in a minute.
When
So
I
the
say-
Enterprise is sent to the planet Catral, near the Romulan neutral zone, and they're going to deal with a pirate that has been disrupting the shipping in the area.
Kim
Uh,
Cattrall.
Yeah, he is called Blaze, but it's not really. It's not really his name. It's Double A or what was it? Where was
I don't think that's the right pirate ship, Clinton.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it
What
is.
are you looking
It
at?
is.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Somebody's having too much fun with the AI. He is called Blaze and has a Constitution class special at his disposal. Blaze,
So he is Blaze
Of the ship.
of Glory.
Right.
yes, right.
Oh, wow.
So Blaze's ship, it even has a cloaking device. Believe it or not, like no Constitution class has had a cloaking device before, right? Right.
Except when Kirk stole one.
Yeah, except for that one time. So it's installed and it manages to damage the Enterprise in a sneak attack. So Jadron, this is where I had a problem with the book, was trying to get through all the names that had apostrophes because there was no shortage of that. So Jadron, the overlord of Catral, seems reluctant to offer assistance in capturing Blaze, the captain of the Glory. So Picard becomes suspicious. He sends Riker and LaForge and Lieutenant Dorn. Yeah, Lieutenant Dorn, which
Not actual photos, by the way.
actually looks like Riker, doesn't it? Rather, Lieutenant Dorn down to to kind of infiltrate this pirate group that's kind of hammering this whole area. So Lieutenant Dorn is a security officer from Starbase 37, and he sends them all on an undercover mission.
Is that is the starbase? Why is this person? Is it nearby? I mean, was she just hanging a ride to get there or something?
I think they were actually. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was on the ship going to another place. She was from Starbase 37. So they're taking her somewhere else. So anyway, Riker, LaForge, and Lieutenant Dorn, they are posing as disgraced spacers and pirates, to kind of infiltrate Blaze's crew. So Picard becomes convinced that Jadron is in league with Blaze. Unfortunately, the only man that can stop all this, the turmoil that's going on, is a war hero named General Hadron, another apostrophe name.
Oh my!
Yeah. So the general, however, refuses to believe.
Can I buy a vowel?
Yeah, I know, right? He refuses to believe anything bad about his son. His son is actually the Jadron, who is running the whole place now. This new civilization in the Federation.
So is he a benevolent ruler that was elected, or just like he's in charge of the place?
Well, Hadron had turned everything over to his son, Jadron, because he was getting older, and he was like, okay, I need to pass the torch.
Because I mean, a planet's a big thing to be like the boss of the entire planet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. So, anyway, let me keep going here. So, Picard, hoping that he can convince Hadron the truth of what's going on, which the truth is the Romulans are trying to, since this is near the neutral zone, they're trying to convince Federation that the Jadron is in league with the Romulans, that they would get expelled from the Federation.
Well, Jared posed a good question. He said, how did this dictatorship culture become part of the Federation in the first place?
That was the funny thing about it, is that even though that is a dictatorship, where's my notes on that? I had, this, let me find it. What we have here is more or less a dictatorship, despite the fact that they're in the Federation having issues with, where did I have it? It's because of the war that they had and the changes that happened with the son stepping in and the father stepping back. That's what allowed them to get in the Federation. And then, so this is a very political story.
Oh, so the Federation thought, oh, everything's cool now.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So they thought, okay, we can give them some support. And because it's so close to the neutral zone, they didn't want the Romulans to take over that area.
I see.
And expand the empire. And that's kind of what's going on here, is that the Romulans are hoping to convince to kind of make evident that they are in league with this new ruling party, that they will be expelled from the Federation, and of course they would just expand their, the borderline.
Right.
All right. So, and by the way, the guy's name was De Blasio. That's where Blaze comes from. De Blasio is his name.
Wasn't he the mayor of New York?
Yeah.
Very confused.
Yeah. He's also very busy.
Hmm.
And
So,
Dorn
anyway.
into Michael Dorn.
Yeah. So,
That's a good name.
yeah. So, Hadron, his dad, refuses to believe anything bad about his son. That's where Picard's trying to convince him to kind of
Mhm.
step in. So, hoping he can convince Hadron of the truth, Picard rescues, it's a war hero, Colonel Zagan, Zagral, excuse me, another
Did you have
apostrophe.
a spreadsheet to keep all these names straight when you were
I
reading?
should
this?
have actually. That he was trying to convince his old friend of what to kind of step the war hero to step in and talk sense to Hadron. But while he was there, the captain Picard learns rather that the Romulans have a large force on Catral and are planning to assassinate Hadron, the dad. So they can kind of solidify their space in here. And so his dad wouldn't go, "Oh, the Romulans are behind all that," kind of thing. So there's that. So you got the Romulans got a force there, and they're trying to kill off Hadron. So is this making sense so far?
It is. So you've got
It's a long time since I've written a book report.
right. So you're the father thought, oh, my son, he's up to this task and he's a fine lad.
Yeah.
And I'll put him in charge. And the son is not what the father thinks he is, but the father won't believe that. And now you've got this old war hero going, hell, you should listen to your old man.
Right. Exactly. So let's switch gears and go back to Riker, LaForge, and Lieutenant Dorn. I'm sorry. As soon as I read that name, I was like,
Yeah.
why would they?
You didn't even try on that one.
Didn't try.
It is a good name.
Yeah. So they go, in the meantime, all this is going on, they go down and they meet up with, they're trying to infiltrate de Blasio's, pirate ship. They meet up with, where's the name? There's a name in here. It's basically a
Kaput.
Oh, did we lose Craig?
Good for it? Yeah, maybe. He froze. Well, maybe he is kaput. So at this point, we'll make up the rest of the story.
Yeah. All right. So we left off with Riker and Lieutenant Dorn, if that is her real name, and Geordi trying to infiltrate the pirates. So my guess is the first thing they have to do is they have to talk like pirates. And you have to wonder, is talk like a pirate day still a thing?
Sure.
In the future? So that's confusing. But all right, so they're gonna infiltrate, but usually if you're trying to infiltrate pirates, you got to do some things that are not cool, right? You got to do some things that are like thieving and such.
Well, sort of mirror universe like.
Yeah, and it depends on how bad these pirates are because things can get pretty nasty with pirates.
Yeah, they steal things off of my front porch.
Well, no, okay, that's but a bit more than that. They got the swords in it. Well, of course, I don't know.
There is a pirate night on the Star Trek cruise this year.
Here I am having this image of the pirates, and I'm going, yeah, that's exactly what they look like when they're on the planet. They're just like actual pirates. Don't think they actually are. Well, when Craig comes back, he can write put us on the right track on that part. So it sounds like you've got two different kind of things going on here. Kind of an action adventure, I'm assuming, is what's happening with Riker and Geordi and Lieutenant Dorn. And then you've got political stuff going on.
Hang on. So I'm sorry, back up. I just, for some reason, I looked over as I finished up my story and I saw that StreamYard said something went wrong.
Yes. Well, we filled in some story for you, but I'm
Danny
sure
Hillcrest took it from here.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can do a
So,
better job because
All
you
right.
actually
So
read it.
where did I leave off?
That Riker and Lieutenant Dorn and Geordi were now going to infiltrate the pirate band.
Okay. So basically way it works is they got on the ship. You know, I mentioned that Riker was a gunner and LaForge was actually helping fix the Glory, which
Aha.
was
It was
had been.
talents to use.
So they were actually that ship was actually attacking the Enterprise at one point, and other shipping, shipping lane ships.
While they
that
were
come through there.
while they were on it.
Yeah, they were on it, and they were
Mm.
trying to fix it. So they were in a weird position. They're like, "Hey, we're supposed to be working on this ship, but this isn't where we need to be. You know, this is not the right." You know, they were trying to slow down their work
Mhm.
to keep the repairs.
This sounds vaguely familiar when Picard was posing as the on that raider ship as Galen.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I want
So-
you to fire on the Enterprise. Well,
So-
wait. Let's not be too hasty.
Right. Well, they ended up convincing DeBlaze that his first mate was a Romulan spy. DeBlaze was not the jerk that you would think he is, and
Aha.
actually killed the spy and ended up helping them and the Enterprise defeat the Romulan force that was there, and that's how things turned around.
Okay, so at first you think that the pirates are working with the Romulans. Were they at any
Yes.
point?
Well, that was a speculation by Picard and everybody because they thought, wow, why is this Constitution class ship upgraded with all these engines and a cloaking device, which is not designed for this particular type of ship? So that was the theory they were going on at first, but I'm trying to remember, did they ever?
I was going to say, so where did they get the cloaking device from? That Ferengi? Who
Well,
had
the spy.
eBay.
Yeah, the spy. Yeah.
The spy. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So the spy facilitated some of that stuff. Yep.
All right. So but you still have the son who's a jerk or worse in charge. How does his story get resolved?
So the Romulan force was there and they were going to assassinate Jadron, the father,
Mhm.
to kind of keep from having some external force screwing up their plans and with making the Federation look like realize that they're in league with each other with the Romulans. So once the Romulan force was taken care of, then the Colonel and Jadron were able to straighten things out with the son.
I see now that he had like nobody that was his ally anymore or anything like
Yeah.
that. He's like, oh yeah, I totally see where you're coming from, man. Yeah, I get it now. I get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it now.
Yeah. So there you go. That's basically it. By the way, so with the Glory's help, I'll read the last line I wrote here. With the Glory's help, the Enterprise defeats the Romulan in space and thwarts General Hadron's assassination. And Blaze, was allowed to leave with his ship, the Glory. But here's the kicker: is that he must restrict his piracy to the Romulan space. So
That's fair.
The triple solution. Yeah.
Right. Throw
the
the
Romulans-
rats over the fence to the neighbor's yard.
right. So I hope I went through that right. Did it make sense as I was going through it? For the most
It did. No,
Okay.
it totally
All right.
did. I was so I take it that my take on what the pirates look like was not really accurate to what the story was. I'm thinking that they didn't look like actual pirates.
Right.
It's a book. They can look like anything you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did look at a review, and they said DeBlaze was more of a Han Solo type pirate, and
Okay.
looking for an opportunity. And so,
Soldier of Fortune type of
yeah,
thing.
soldier of fortune kind of thing. So that's why he wasn't the jerk that the Enterprise thought he was going to be at first.
Because there's another type of pirate here that we get a suggestion about here, cosplaying as a torrent.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I've got my pirate costume figured out.
Yeah.
A series
But
of ones and zeros, I guess.
I will say this though, it was fun to read once you got going. It was kind of a page turner, and I kept thinking it would be a good Star Trek episode
Hmm.
if it was made to one. Except for the politic part, was kind of with the Romulan stuff kind of would fill out a lot of that episode. So I don't know how well it would work, but I could see something like this being in an episode.
Yeah, you have to truncate an awful lot of, a lot of chopping down of that stuff, I guess.
Yeah. So it was worth it, and I'll go back and get us another used book from the bookstore.
I see what you did there, Clinton. Chopping down, truncated.
Yes. That's more like detruncated, I suppose. Anyway.
You got any
All
more
right.
questions about the book?
No, I mean, my
Give
last
it a
question
rating.
is gonna
Give
be
it a rating, 1 to
Yeah.
10.
pirates.
Pirate, sure.
Well, all right. Looking back on the last one I reviewed was just the one where I know Chuck, you read it rather, where they had ATMs and fast food restaurants and stuff.
American Express, yeah.
American Express. I think this was a little more believable, and it felt like it really fit in with the characters that we know and the universe that we know of the next generation. So I'm gonna give this. I would give this a 8. I think this could be a good read.
Okay. Got a questioner from listener Diane saying, was Data not in the story or Riker? Well, Riker was was with Geordi and Lieutenant Dorn, right?
Yeah, Data was in the story for a little bit, especially at the beginning, because Riker was like, "Oh, I didn't do my homework," on the Catral people. So he asked Data on the bridge, "Hey, tell me about the Catral." And so, Data was giving him the runaround, not runaround,
Yes.
the
That would be bad. That would be bad.
filling out the details. So, so I thought he was going to be in this more than he was, but he didn't.
He's on the cover.
He is on the cover.
Secondary color. So's
Well,
Picard.
LaForge and Riker were more in it than anybody else,
Right.
And what was the other thing I wrote? They didn't really use any of the a lot of the other characters like I don't know. They just didn't use any other characters.
Troy or
Yeah, Troy wasn't in there much.
Worf didn't seem to get much of a mention, or Beverly. Or,
Beverly wasn't in there much. So it was like, it was okay. But as far as filling out all the characters, it wasn't. It was kind of lopsided a little bit.
Well, we'll make up for that a bit. I'll just have. There's an image of
the dancing doctor.
Beverly. Yes,
she is dancing
there. She is.
Look, they're doing a number in sick bay.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, that's a pretty good Worf. What are you using for these AI images?
Yeah,
we'll talk offline about that.
Worf had a tribble, and his uniform is a little off, but otherwise pretty good.
Yeah.
Getting it to make a tribble was really interesting.
It's floating too. Look at that. The tribble's floating in the air.
Hover tribble.
It's all in the wording that you go, oh, that's not what I said, but that's fun too.
Yeah. It's like when you discovered R2D2 could fly.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I will say this. It's fun, even though there's a little bit of goofiness, like we talked about in the last book. But it's fun reading this because in my head, I see the characters, I hear them talking, the voices that I know.
Oh yeah,
it's fun to read these stories and go, oh, here's another story I don't know, and go through it. And so I really like going through these old books. Is what basically the bottom line is.
Right. The tricky part is you always have to keep in mind that the novels are not canon.
Yeah, and that's fine.
They reset so that sometimes you go, well, that doesn't make sense with what happened. Well, first of all, the author didn't know that, 2 series down the line, something was going to happen.
Right.
But also they're working on certain guidelines, and the people that are editing the books know that, okay, yeah, this isn't exactly fitting in with stuff, but it doesn't have to, because it's not really. That's why this is site. You've got memory alpha, and then the memory beta, which is more of the secondary canon stuff that's in novels and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like the Star Wars books. There's 1,000 Star Wars books, but they're not necessarily canon either, but there are a lot of good reads. And that's kind of where I was fit in with this. It was fun to read it because it did fit in my head, like kind of like an episode,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, okay, this is fun. I'm revisiting these characters that I love. And so that's where the fun came in, reading this book.
And the end of every chapter is a commercial break. So
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
skip.
That's right.
All right. Well, I think thank you very much for that, Craig. And I hope I do as good of a job with mine, because so far I haven't run into as many odd names. I'm hoping that it keeps that way, but
Yeah,
it's Star Trek. So yeah, the apostrophe. So your apostrophe must be completely worn out on your keyboard from typing the notes.
I know. Yeah, it was. Well, by the way, look at our names on the video. Chuck's got apostrophes in his name, and you got one too.
Just can't get, it's Trek. You can't get enough of them. All right, it's time to come back from our main mission then with an appropriate sound effect.
There we go. Look at that. Nice
Very
and clean.
nice. And it's kind of like pirates might use a bosun's whistle as well, I suppose, as well. That's good.
Or this whistle.
Well, Eric, I'm glad you're here, but we've got to go out now on our warp speed roundtable, which is
I'm sorry.
my goodness. Everybody's pressing the buttons.
Shouldn't be giving them the sound effects.
So go ahead. Give us the sound effect.
I'm not touching anything.
All right. And it's floating too.
That's appropriate.
Now, what we're going to do here is, as we said, we don't know exactly when season 5 of Discovery is going to premiere. However, we have gotten the episode titles. And I've gone to a couple of different sites where I was pulling these lists, and all the news stories I pull, and people have been speculating about what these stories mean just from the title, some of which are 1 word long.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. So therefore I thought, let's do that too. What I asked Chuck and Craig to do
If it's ridiculous, it's got our name on it.
Is to come up with, gave them the list of all the episodes, and I said, come up with what you think this episode is about. And when we talked about it, it's like, so you don't know anything about it, you're giving a review about it. Sounds like something Danny Hillcrest would do. So I asked Danny to come up with mine, and I will read Danny's replies, what he thinks each of these episodes is about.
And then I'll read Johnny Breadcrust.
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go first with our first episode? Let me get my
episode 1 is titled Red Directive.
Yep.
And I can tell right away from the title, it has to do with red shirts. So this is where they officially set down the law, even though they're in the future. They set down the law that away missions must include 1 or more red shirts on them.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Why don't you go next, Craig?
I'm also doing Red Directive.
Yes, we'll do a round robin.
What do you think Red Directive is about, Craig?
I think I don't know if I should say that. I'm not going to say it.
Is it to do
No.
with the red ink?
No,
The Red Wedding from Game of Thrones?
Yes, actually, that's what I was thinking of. So, yeah, so Book and Michael go to get married on the bridge, and there's a red wedding situation, and it doesn't quite work out the way they hoped.
That's going to be unpleasant. Well, Danny said, and I'll try to read it in Danny's voice if I can.
Okay.
It's Hunger Games meets The Purge by way of internet memes when Starfleet discovers they haven't met their red shirts' death count for over 900 years. Discovery has to send a tribute. I'm looking at you, Jetpack Reno. May the force field be with you. So that's what Danny thinks this episode is about. I don't know if that's going to be true or not. All right, let's move on to the second episode. The is titled Under the Twin Moons.
Same order, or you want to reverse, or how do you want to handle this?
We'll do the same order.
Okay, same order. Oh, this is where the crew goes to Luke Skywalker's home planet, of course. Oh, wait, that was Twin Suns. Darn it.
Twin Suns. Well, there could have been 2 moons. We never saw it.
There could have been 2 moons. But then I'm starting to get into that, semi-adult, explicit tag that we're going to need on this episode.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. So I think we better move on to Craig's.
All right. So Under the Twin Moons is where the Binars meet up with the ship Discovery, and they insult them by showing their butts through the windows as they drive by.
Okay, I see where you're going with that one. All right.
Crazy Joe was really close too. 2 crew members drop their drawers and show everyone their butts. Under the Twin Moons,
Binars, because there's 2 of them.
Budget-friendly remake of Battle of the Binary Stars.
Okay.
Mr. Diane is going back to Red Directive. Burnham's mom comes back to head up the Red Angel Brigade, or to reclaim the suit.
Put him up. All right. Danny says, in order to impress his new Vulcan girlfriend, Saru steals the Discovery and tractor trailer beam drags not one, but 2 moons to the moon void world of Navarre, making it moon oversaturated. So that's his idea of what Under the Twin Moons is. All right, let's move on to number 3, which is Janal.
Now this is I'm guessing this is somebody's name. A proper name of somebody in the storyline. So they're going to meet this person, Janal, who is very regal, but very obscure. So you don't really, you think you know who this character is, but it's not really what you think it is. And it turns out to be a plot that just goes horribly wrong. And the crew goes, well, let's not do that again.
Wow.
That's good advice. That's just good advice.
They can't all be winners.
What about you, Craig, for Janal?
All right. So I think that Michael decides to take the crew out for a night out. And when they go to the bar, they ask him what they have to drink. It's gin. Oh, they had everything.
Gin for everyone. It's spelled J-I-N, but language.
That's Space Gin is spelled with a J. Don't you know that?
In the future.
Space Gin.
It's like Sky Gin. Well, it's all the gin is in the sky. Why do you have to call it Sky Gin? Anyway, Danny says, this is clearly a name from a Temerian story /phrase/thing. The whole line is probably something like Janal and to somebody at the Five Below store. So I don't.
Oh, hey, that's like Darmok and Gelada Tanagra.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Janal and Burnham at the dollar store.
Dollar store.
Okay, Janal, Book's baby mama shows up asking for back child support. Oh my. All right, we want to make sure I'm catching all the chat because the chat is crazy.
I think the chat's doing a better job than we are.
The new Discovery menu at Denny's will have Under the Twin Moons over my hammy.
Now that's good eating.
Should have had Joe on the show instead of me.
All right, let's go to episode number 4, Face the Strange.
Oh, this is easy. This is where they came and asked us to be on the show. It's like Face the Nation, only with the topic is Trek.
Ah, I see. Let's see. We've got one in here from Diane. Can somebody read that? It's like a Khan from the alternate timeline
enters through a portal, but he looks like Doctor Strange until he just doesn't see it.
Oh. Listener Diane stole my thing. I was going to say this is where Doctor Strange. This is the title for the next Doctor Strange movie.
Well, great minds think alike because Danny, well,
and simple minds have obvious thoughts.
yeah,
Don't
I was
forget
gonna
that
say,
part.
because
Meh.
Danny says, now that Sir Patrick Picard has appeared in a Marvel Doctor Strange movie, everyone in Star Trek wants a piece of that sweet Sarah Stanley cinematic universal pie. So yeah, it's definitely going to be this Doctor Strange crossover episode.
There you
Okay.
go.
Hey, if Strange New Worlds can make a musical, why not?
Why not? All right, let's move on to Mirrors, episode 5.
This is a tough one because it's only one word.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thoughts were the mirror universe, but that would be too obvious because we've done that so many times. It's becoming a trope. So this is where all the crew members, whenever they look in a mirror, they see something other than what they expect. And the whole crew just kind of goes bonkers, but no one's willing to speak up at first because, they'll think you're crazy if you look in the mirror and say,
I saw roasted ham in the mirror.
I see dead people.
Right.
All right. That's kind of a creepy episode. All right.
Yeah.
What about sort of a Black Mirror type of episode?
That's let's say, this is the crossover episode with Black Mirror.
There you go.
That's all I got. I'm sorry. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Danny says, people think that this is a mirror universe story. Nuh-uh. Somebody realizes we only see about 2 mirrors in all of Star Trek, so Detmer and Awashikun go on a landing and shopping party to Mirror World, which is an actual world that only sells mirrors.
Yay.
That's where Trelane got it.
Okay, we've got another.
By the way, I don't know why this popped in my head as a Fleetwood Mac album.
Mirrors?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
Like rumors?
Yeah. I don't know why that just popped in my head.
Okay, Crazy Joe says, I think Dirk Benedict is guest starring as an old A-Team character Face and gets reunited with Barclay, who looks like Murdoch. Strange.
Face the Strange. That was a stretch there, Joe. I'm going to admit.
Long walk, part of gift. Okay, let's
Hey,
move on.
by the way, we were talking about Doctor Strange, and when he said Dirk Benedict, I was thinking, why would Benedict Cumberbatch?
You're getting your Benedict Arnolds mixed up there, buddy.
Yeah, it's your egg Benedict from
Right.
Denny's.
Moons
Okay,
over my hammy and eggs Benedict. I'm getting
Right.
hungry on this show.
let's move on to episode 6 then. Whistle Speak.
Whistle Speak. That's the train stop on the way to Illinois. So they go back in time and they're on an old train and they enter a town called Whistle Speak. I'm leaving it there because that's where the trailer ends.
It feels like an old Twilight Zone episode.
Could be. Could be
Okay.
based on that, but Star Trek has been known to borrow.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Craig?
This is where the presidents used to go on trains and they would stop and do whistle speaks. So at each town, as they're campaigning for
I see
president,
it's a whistle stop. It's a whistle speak.
whistle speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Speak Easy, where they blow
And-
the whistle.
And Danny says, and Chuck, have your finger on the button for this one. You can tell the obvious effect coming up here. At last, a language that Zora can't translate. The only problem is Zora is the one who was whistle speaking. What do you think about that, Eric? Exactly. All right, got anybody on?
And you got 2 Eric's comments at the same time.
Yes.
Are we done yet?
Oh, we're only halfway through.
I don't know. The crowd here in the chat is loving this, so I don't know.
We got Mirrors, the bridge crew member played by Sarah Middich, begins having flashbacks to being Arium.
Yes, okay.
And so
I
says
see what you did there.
Dirk Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Faceman Strange.
Face Man Strange.
Weird mamma jamma. Okay.
Strange man face.
All right, now episode 7, Eriga. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. I don't know, but
Again, one word, proper name. Wasn't that Hagrid's spider's name? No, that was Aragog. Aragog. He was the man who became king in Lord of the Rings. No. I'm not going anywhere with this. Please, Craig, help.
okay.
I thought
All
he
right, what
was
do you
the-
got?
Tag, you're it.
I thought he was the big guy that was befriending the kids in Harry Potter.
Hagrid?
Oh, that was Hagrid. I'm sorry.
That's almost an anagram for Hagrid.
It is.
That
That's the puzzle.
was pretty creepy.
Oh, my
Craig.
dyslexia is kicking in. That's
That's
what
part
it
of that.
is.
Part of the artifact. You change the pieces around it. That's reveals that. Well, Danny says Peter Jackson directed this episode that finds Captain Burnham and company transported into the Lord of the Rings bundle of trilogies, facing the evil forces of Aragorn. Side note: Jackson had to cut this episode down from its original 9-hour run. So
Wow.
that's,
Yeah.
did not know
Aragorn is
that.
also known as Star Strider. Oh, there's a. See if you can follow that path over to another podcast.
Okay, we've got another comment about. Let's see. Well, we got a bunch of Aragons coming in
there
here.
we go. Put them up.
All right, got this first one here. Aragas Saru's wedding is
Saru's
here,
wedding is
and the Klingon. It's too small for me on the
and
screen.
the Klingon caterer has provided a delicacy with psychotic side effects.
Wow.
All right.
Oh my!
Klingons on mushrooms. Oosh.
The sound the crew starts making after getting tribble fur stuck in their throats after the dinner special.
Oh, it says more like Aragach. Okay.
There you go. I like that Klingon thing. Aragach. Aragach is an imp from the fifth dimension who has to be tricked into saying Hagire is named backwards to be defeated.
Maybe we see why Discovery is ending. Okay, let's go to episode number 8, Labyrinths.
Oh, yes. I love a good David Bowie episode. Don't you? The end.
Correct. Yeah, Craig?
In this episode, directed by Jim Henson, 16-year-old Sarah is given 13 hours to solve a labyrinth and rescue her baby brother Toby when her wish for him to be taken away is granted by the Goblin King Jareth.
There's a lot of puppetry in this episode.
Yeah.
So Danny says, you might think this is about that David Bowman, Jim Henson movie, or about the hedgehog maze in The Shining. Nope. It's about a Star Trek fan caught in a web of reconciling Trek canon. So there we go. That's
like
gotta
Move
make this
Along
fit.
Home.
yeah, gotta figure out how that possibly fits into canon. I just
It's the
go
Discovery
down the
version
rabbit
of
hole.
Move Along Home. Lemon meringue, count to 3.
Yeah, no.
All right, we got to move quickly because we're on to episode 9, Lagrange Point.
I didn't think this was going to be as fun as it was. Is it Lagrange Point or is it Lagrange Point? Well,
Exactly.
if you ask ZZ Top, it's Lagrange.
Man, you keep stealing my material.
Craig, we have been working together way the flip too long.
Hey, I think Lagrange Point, I think I hiked there once.
And that is where the James Webb Space Telescope is, out at Lagrange Point number 2.
There you go.
In case you didn't know, this is a real thing. It's like where gravity in
Sure it is, Chuck.
body balances out the other, and you can create a stable orbit without any.
I'm sorry, this is a science fiction podcast.
Yeah.
Not
well,
science
Danny
fact.
says, I actually looked up what a Lagrange point is and couldn't make nose cone or stabilizer fin sense out of it. So I'm going to guess it involves Lieutenant Reese saying, what is the point Lagrange? Or it's the second part of the story that's about the short trek Calypso. One or the other.
Oh, Lagrange Point. Tilly performs a stakeout to discover why cadets are going missing after trips to a local lover's lane.
Oh, I love Police Academy.
Yeah, well, the sound effects are going to be off the charts with that episode.
That was the warp drive.
And now,
Crazy Joe had one, the sequel to Mirrors. It's a funhouse planet with a mirror maze. Saru keeps walking into the something. Watch Saru just keep walking into something.
I told you it's Mirror World, where all they have are mirrors. All right, and we're coming up to I feel like this is like on Johnny Carson. I have the last title.
Yay!
Well, glad.
Yeah.
It is Life Itself.
Well, since this is the final episode of the final season, I'm going to go with Life Itself is the title of the episode where everybody dies.
Ooh, wow. Gee.
Hey, put this
You
on
went
the
from-
prediction
You
episode we
went from
did.
one person dying, now everybody's dying.
Nope, take them all.
Yeah.
Oof, wow. I hope yours is a bit cheerier there, Craig.
Yeah, I think this is the episode where they actually walk around the ship and just water the plants to make sure that they stay alive.
And Saru's got a lot of them. So
Yes, he does. They spend a lot of time in his room. Yeah.
Why don't they have an arboretum and put them all there?
I don't know. They have one on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
All right. So Danny says, inspired by the Bohemian Space Rhapsody episode of Strange New Worlds, this will be a disco musical all about that classic song Star Trekkin' by the Firm. It's life itself, but no time to explain it. I heard that we're canceled. Let's fly like an eagle and warp on out like a wet piece of plywood. So that's what Danny thinks is that's all.
I'll
there
leave
is.
it with Jared's final words there. We have nothing left to live but life itself.
There's nothing left to fear but fear itself. Crazy Joe says the new navigator Ensign Lagrange only stands on the bridge and points in the right direction.
You could press the buttons. No, I'm just gonna point.
That's right.
Sure, it's easy when you're sitting at home writing comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Armchair quarterbacks. Ugh.
Podcasters. Oh, thank you, everybody. That was a lot of fun.
It was very, very good suggestions on that one. Well, if this comes up again, we will do this again.
Oh, I want to predict what Strange New Worlds is coming up.
No, you don't.
Well,
Not in this episode.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
All right. And it's about time to refill the lithium chamber and warp on out of here. But first,
It's easy for you to say.
no, it's not. Nothing's even. It's like humidity levels. I think checking. It's like humidity level 0 in this room. So it's just like let's see. I've got the. There we go. So just upcoming schedule of shows. And they're going to be a bit sporadic due to travel and whatnot. So on February 8th, that's going to be our next episode. And the book I'm going to be reviewing is Star Trek Voyager, The Murdered Sun by Christy Golden, which I'm assuming is a pen name, but you never know.
All right, Chuck. What is this book about?
The Murdered Sun?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Back in the old days, if you had a girl, they were thrown in the river.
No, S-U-N.
Murdered Sun. Oh, I got it. So Q comes along again.
always add Q.
His finger.
Yeah.
And the sun goes out so that he can divert the ribbon to Viridian 3.
What? No, that's all sorts of wrong.
Right.
Let's move on. On March 7th, Chuck and Craig will be back from the latest Star Trek cruise with a report.
We'll be all nice and tan, right, Chuck?
I don't plan on getting.
Or we'll still be white and pasty like we are today.
Of course.
On March 21st, that's when Chuck's book review will be. And then April 4th, again, possibly the Star Trek Discovery premiere. We don't know for sure. And the backup plan is to do a Star Trek stuff that we have show and tell.
Or
and
we'll
I
just
predict that Star Trek Discovery will come out on tax day to make us all feel better.
Is the 15th a Thursday?
It's called the Red Directive. It won't make us feel better.
Yeah.
No, but it can come on the 11th. That's the closest we get to tax day before everybody's crying because they've already had to pay their tax.
A Red Directive. Well, all the guys come out and say, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
So many possibilities. Okay, that was a strange segment that seemed to oddly work really well. But
we should have saved that one for Dragon Con, darn it.
It's right now, it's time to hit the theme, boys, and to warp on out of here. But before we hit the theme,
yes,
you can find me, Clinton, at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4.com, and check for me on the social media platform of your choice. I'm probably there someplace. Who speaks for you guys?
Chuck does.
Okay.
Oh, either one. That don't matter. Anyway, so
delegation by finger pointing.
Yeah, I see that now. Now you can find Chuck and myself on the Technorama podcast, and you can search Google for Technorama podcast, and you will find us. And but we're pretty much on every platform you can find any podcast on. So there you
go. Okay, and now it's time to hit the theme, boys. If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on X, visit our Facebook page, or visit thetopicistrek.com. Until next time, on behalf of Chuck, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't
live long
Put
and
on
oh yeah,
the
don't
red
put on the red shirt.
shirt.
Wow. 152 episodes. He still doesn't
Oh
have.
crap! I'm screwed.
That's why I was going with the live long and prosper.
Titles, they're fun.
Done.
Alrighty. And before we sign off, we've got a note here that Christy Golden is her real name. She actually has another pen name. Interesting. It's
Which
just
one was Christy Golden?
she's the one who wrote the book that I'm going to be reviewing, the Voyager book.
Ah, right.
I'm eating my dilithium crystals.
Okay, if you're glowing when you go to bed tonight, you'll know why, because you've got irradiated from
I
this
think
stuff.
they're spicy.
All right, we're going to say bye to the live stream. Thank you again for
everybody.
being here and participating. It was a lot of fun.